We got Darwin
on the trail
coming up right now.
What's going on, everybody? This is Derek, and with me today is the only man to gnaw wood faster than a beaver when making a dam, Carl Mandrioli. Look at those chompers, everybody. How you doing, buddy? What's going on?
I'm doing great, my friend. With me today is Derek Somerville. He was a real backpacker until he went to Antarctica. That's when things went south.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised it's taking you this long to use something with Antarctica, but I guess there's a picture right there.
You like to bring up Antarctica a lot, and so I'm just trying to play into your ego a little bit.
I don't feel like I brought it up for a while, but okay.
I beg to differ.
Either way.
Totally so we got Darwin Onthetrail, man. He's one of the big time legends in the YouTube backpacking community.
Yeah, how do you become a legend in the backpacking community? Like, what do you need to do? Like, discover something? Like, find a new berry? Like, what do you need to do? You know, like, that's a good one. I don't get it.
I think duration and number of subscribers, videos, adventures. I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay.
Like, you kind of want to be a legend. Is that what you're getting at?
I mean, who doesn't want to be legendary? You know, I mean, I feel like I'm ahead of you in that. I don't know. I mean, where are we in that race? Are you like
ahead of me?
Is it like
it's not a race?
We're just like, you're older, so maybe you, but then I'm cooler, so maybe me. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We're partners, my friend. We're tied together.
It's like a tag team race. It's like a tag team. Okay.
And to answer your question, like, who doesn't want to be a legend? Like, you can make the case after listening to this interview that Darwin actually doesn't want to be the legend.
That's what he said. That's true.
So it's not for everybody, for sure. But I don't know. People can interpret it their own way, and we'll find out.
Okay.
How they take this. But first, we got a Bible verse, Matthew 4:19. Come follow me, Jesus said, and I will send you out to fish for people. Derek, when was the last time you were out fishing for people?
Fishing for people. It's been probably a while.
Years. Decades.
Yeah, probably not decades, but years. Definitely years. I don't even remember the last time. So,
all right.
You know, it's something you always want to be ready to do. But I think, I don't know. Do you usually do it at the grocery store when you have your backpack on?
Grocery store, Costco. Costco's a big fishing place.
Yeah,
for me. But that's what I figured you'd say, to be honest.
Like, what do you say? Like, hey, you know, I'm gonna be on aisle 5, and Jesus might be there too. Kind of, you know,
that could definitely.
Is that what you say?
That sounds like a fishing for people pickup line. A little awkward, to be honest.
Are you like, do you want love in bulk? You know, Jesus can do that. Costco can't.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't know. What do you say?
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say that I have an announcement. I made this announcement last week in the tidbit section, and I got another announcement along those lines this week at the end of this episode. So if you want to find out, my friend, you're going to find out.
I'm ready. I'm ready for tidbits right now. Right. But we got an interview. Let's check it out.
Before we get to the interview, so the YouTube version that you're watching right now is longer than the audio version, and I tried to edit it similarly, but there's more stuff in the YouTube version. And so I think I got everything, but there might be, just kind of warning, there might be some language that I might have missed. I try my best, but it was a long interview and it was a good one for sure. But just heads up, just beware. Nothing crazy or anything. Just it might be on the YouTube version. So
yeah.
With that said, my friend, let's get to it.
All right, let's go.
With me today is a man who has thru-hiked multiple long trails, a man who has his own gear company, a man who has a popular show called the Outdoor Evolution Podcast, a YouTuber with the most popular backpacking channel of all time. Please welcome Darwin from Darwin Onthetrail. How's it going, sir?
How's it going, man? That was too nice. Too nice of an intro, I'd say. Way too nice.
We got to build it up. So
I don't know if my podcast is that popular, like the most popular, but
you had the most popular YouTube channel. You can't compete with us. Come on, let's be honest.
I don't know. Did I have the most popular YouTube channel? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, of all the folks I've been researching,
I think your guys' thing. Yeah. I see more of the game shows that you guys have been working on.
Did you listen to the game show?
I watched a little bit of it, yeah.
Okay, so
I didn't listen, I watched.
You did, which, we were still working with YouTube and structuring that, but thank you for doing that. I don't think hardly anybody did. We didn't get as many hits on that one, so I don't know if we'll circle back, but unless you want to be a contestant, do you want to be like a celebrity guest on a game show?
Can I just be a regular guest? Do I have to be a celebrity guest?
We can call you regular.
Yeah,
we've got this celebrity, and Darwin.
I'll just come on as Nick. I won't come on as Darwin. I'll come on as Nick.
Incognito. And I will, and I want to share with you. So, some folks that listen to our show that found out that you were going to be interviewed. I had one person who's like, okay, whatever you do, like when you're not on the trail, you can't call him Darwin. And then I had another guy who said, like, whatever you do, you can't call him Nick. And I was like, all right, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna call him what he signs on as.
You can do either if you'd
Okay.
like.
Okay, so you're not super sensitive.
Back and forth. No.
All right.
No, why would I care? No,
I
actually,
don't know.
the whole Darwin thing, the reason that a lot of people didn't know my name for years is it just kind of became a running joke because like people would ask me like what my real name was, and I would, you know, always kind of not really answer it, be kind of suspicious about it because I thought it was funny. Because people would say like, "Oh, your parents named you Darwin," and I'm like, "No." But on my Instagram and on my YouTube channel for years, my real name was on there. There used to be a photo of my my AT finishing certificate.
Okay.
So you know what it always like, I don't know if you've ever seen one, but it's like your first name, then your trail name, like in parentheses, and then your last name. That was on my Instagram for years. So I just kind of kept playing it on and letting people, I don't know, it just kind of turned into a reoccurring joke.
Yeah.
To then I guess like where I started hearing things like, he doesn't like being called his real name. Like, no,
but that's what's fun. So you created kind of like a lore around what is appropriate to call it. Yeah.
I like to screw with people. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Well, there you go. That answers that question. Okay, so speaking of your name, Backpacking Magazine has you ranked as the third most famous Darwin of all time.
Is that right?
So, yeah, can you care to guess like the two that are ranked ahead of you?
Ooh, I'm gonna guess. I mean, Charles Darwin, right? Like
first place.
I mean, that's kind of my namesake. That's kind of where it comes from. And then I'm gonna take a guess, and I'm gonna say the only reason I know this, I don't have kids, but the only reason I know this is I am an uncle to a couple kids. Is it Darwin, the character from the Gumball Adventures?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, fourth place. You're close.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a trick because the second ranked is not technically a person. It says most famous Darwin, and so the second rank is the Darwin Awards. Are you familiar with those?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that so? That's not how you got your trail name, is the Darwin Awards?
It is not. No.
You didn't earn one.
No, my namesake, I guess, is after Charles Darwin.
Because you're a fan of
his? I'm
his?
do a lot of air quotes, by the way. Get me on video. I'm just going to do this a lot.
For those listening on audio, he's doing a lot of air quotes. Every single word. Literally. Not really.
I have to put in like sound effects. Like...
All right. So you have a strong connection to Charles and...
Not at all. Okay. Not at all. I was on the AT in 2015, and I was at, let's see, second shelter, first shelter. I can't remember what night it was. Either first or second night on the trail. And we were at this shelter, and everybody's talking about two things. Everybody's talking about like what they did for a living. This one guy's telling us like he's a retired vet, and these kids are telling us that, you know, they just got out of college and all this stuff. Right. And they asked me what I did for a living, and I just start going through this laundry list of all of these things. I've literally had like 20 jobs, 30 jobs, like within 37 years. It's sort of silly. And I was talking about how I get bored a lot, and I'm always kind of like trying to learn new things and kind of evolve as a person.
Oh.
And then we started talking about survival of the fittest.
Okay.
You know, everybody back then anyways, because the percentages of finishing the AT were very low.
Right.
So it was like, I can't remember what the percentage was, but, you know, it was something like only 1 out of 10 people are going to finish the entire AT. And we're talking about it. And I was being a little cocky, and I just come off of racing triathlon for 8 years.
Right.
And I was super fit. And I was like, well, if anybody's going to finish the trail, it's going to be me, because I'm in insanely good shape. So because of the whole survival of the fittest thing, and I woke up that morning to leave the shelter, and this couple was like, we got the perfect trail name for you. And I was like, oh yeah, what is it? And they're like, Darwin. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll take it. And I guess because of the beard, I had the beard at the time.
Right.
And it stuck. It became like one of the best gifts I've ever gotten on a trail, because most people get like really awful trail names. Like, I know some really horrible, disgusting trail names. Like you can't just go by in regular everyday life. Okay. And I got lucky that I got one that like literally just sounds like a first name.
Right.
So
right.
I just went with it. Yeah.
So your icebreaker for like, I'm going to get to know, this could be my trail family here, my tramley. Your icebreaker is, I know I'm going to finish. I'm not so sure about you fools, but I'm going to be the 1 out of this 10.
Yeah, and again, I think a lot of people kind of get me wrong sometimes. Like anybody that spent enough time with me knows that I am super, super sarcastic.
Oh
About
yeah.
90% of the things that come out of my mouth are just like me trying to get a rise out of people.
Right.
So, I was just being sarcastic. I was just being a total Weisenheimer, I guess, as they say, and or as my grandma would say,
Yeah.
and yeah. So
Okay.
it
Can you
stuck.
remember, did any of those people that you're with finish the trail?
Yeah, I think just about
Okay.
all.
Oh, okay. The percentage didn't play out. All right.
Well, the funny thing was that year, we only got 1,600 miles in, and my wife and I had to get off the trail and then come back to
Okay.
finish it because, like, I had some health problems, and my
Mm,
wife's grandmother passed away, and a bunch of stuff
ooh,
happened while we were in
right.
Massachusetts. So we actually ended up being the ones that didn't had to get off the trail for a while and then come back. So technically, I was not the fittest.
Okay. The irony in
Mhm.
that, the
Yeah.
irony, especially as
Uh,
like, yeah, a triathlete, which I mean,
and I
triathletes are
also
fit.
very much appreciate irony. So
Okay. Well, that all right. Whether it works for you or not, but
yeah, why not?
okay. So let's talk about the adventure stuff. I mean, honestly, so anybody who's backpacked and done any sort of research typically comes across your channel and comes up with something they're looking up, whether they're researching water filters or something, or one of your documentaries, and that certainly is true for me, where I would watch some of your stuff because I really value through hikers as really testers of gear. If something holds up throughout a hike that's thousands of miles long, I feel like my weekend trips or my week-long trips should easily hold up for those. And anyway, through all of these adventures, through all these trips that you've got under your belt, can you boil down some of the biggest things you've learned, like let's say 3 essential tips or lessons about just creating an awesome adventure in general for those of us who might have through hikes in our future, or just the weekenders or the overnighters or whatever?
Well, I could give like the cliche ones that like everybody gives, but I'll try
You're
to
not
like.
that guy. Come on, you're
No,
not
I'm
that
not that
guy.
guy. I do want to touch on something. I do want to say something that you just pointed out, though, that I want to say thank you for. Is you just touched on, a lot of my videos, gear videos and stuff were always. It's funny. A lot of people always associated me with being like the gear guy and like testing all this gear, but I
Right.
didn't. I just always like to talk about the stuff that I used on through
Yeah.
hikes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It was just always interesting to me because like people always associate me with like, oh, well, you're the guy who reviews a bunch of gear, and I'm like, actually. If you go look on my channel, like I basically used the same stuff like for years and years and years, and
Right.
I didn't really review a lot of stuff. So thanks for noticing that. I
No,
was
no,
like,
yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, just to clarify, I just was like paying attention to like, okay, this worked, or your opinion on the item after you'd done a through hike. But honestly, I know a lot of people that connect with your channel that I've heard, or that when I was kind of asking around if anybody had any things that they just always wanted to ask you, a lot of people connected through your documentaries. Like they just really like the
oh,
stories.
right on.
Yeah, that was the big one anyway that I heard
Oh,
back from. So
nice.
anyway, that's beside the point.
So
So yeah, so
beside the point.
non-cliche things, essential tips you got?
I mean, I think my number one is I guess people can kind of take it like one or two ways. And I guess my number one, I guess it's not number one, but one of my number one tips is really, I guess, go with it. Like something that I have learned over the years of all the stuff that I've done is just to kind of be open to new experiences. Whenever my wife and I went to go do our first kind of big adventure, if you want to call it that, like our kind of push off to this like big life in the past 8 years of all this travel and stuff that I've done. Um, we did so much research. Like I watched
Mhm.
every documentary I could watch on the AT. We read every book. I looked at
Right.
we obsessed over it for
Right.
6 months to like a year. And when I got out there, I remember like walking up to like certain spots and areas and like I'm like, "Oh, I remember this. Oh, I know this. Oh, I know."
Did you
And
like that?
uh no. Um, and it's because, like, I felt like I had already kind of experienced it, right? Like,
Right.
obviously, I was experiencing it my own way, and that's really where, like, people stuck with me more than anything, and I kinda, like, really honed in on the community.
Mhm.
So, what I've learned over the years, and again, I'm kinda devil's advocate here, I don't do a lot of research before I go on an adventure or a hike.
Mm.
I don't read the books. I don't watch
Mhm.
people's YouTube videos. I don't kind of obsess over something because I want to be open to a new experience.
Right.
Um, I think a lot about like the things that have stuck with me over 8 years the most, and what I remember the most And they're always the misadventures. They're always
Mhm.
the things that I learned while I was out there because I was open to a new experience. It's because I was hitching on the side of the road and some car pulled up and asked me like, "Hey, you want to come to our weekend barbecue? You want to get off the trail for a couple of days and come to our weekend barbecue and go skydiving with us?" That didn't happen to me. That did happen to somebody else hiking with on the AT though. I wish it would have happened to me. And that's the stuff you really remember because
Oh, yeah.
after a while, like it sounds like woe is me, but like, a tree is a tree and a mountain is a mountain and a lake is a lake. And after a while, that stuff kind of all like meshes together. But the stuff you really remember are those moments, right? Like
Mhm.
those new, fresh, exciting moments and meeting somebody for the first time or something going wrong or being cold or being hot. So, definitely one of my biggest pieces of advice is just going with it and just being open to all new experiences, being open to meeting new people. And
Mhm.
just like, if somebody asks you, "Hey, you want to try this? You want to check this out?" Do it. Now, don't harm yourself. Don't put
Right,
yourself
right,
in
right.
bad. Be smart.
Caveat.
Damn it. Like don't be stupid.
Right.
But
I was gonna say
I
your
don't know.
tip is kind of be summed up as like, that Dumb and Dumber quote, just go, man. Just go. Right. Like just get out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's two people, and you kind of alluded to this. There's two people that have a hard time with that. So the first one is the person who's afraid, basically, who's afraid of really getting out of their own zone. I know a lot of backpackers, they kind of just stay nearby. They have like this radius around their house and they're willing to go within, a few hours of their house because that's what they know and that's what's safe to
Yeah.
them. But like what you're saying, if you're doing the same old, like you're not going to be generating new or interesting stories and your experiences are going to be
No.
very similar and they're going to blend together. And so, yeah, so you got to take that step. You just got to go with it.
I think if you're afraid or if you're scared, like you're doing it right. Like, isn't that the whole reason? Like, you're going to do, like getting out of your 9 to 5 every day,
Right.
anyways. Like, isn't
Adventure.
that the reason? Yeah, isn't that the reason you're walking into the woods in the first place? Is like
Right.
to get out of your comfort zone and try something new. So, I
For
guess that's
sure.
kind of what I mean with like go with it. Just like take the ride, go on the experience. Like,
Right.
you'll figure it out. Like, again, unless it's like
One
an
way or
unsafe
another.
thing, then maybe don't do it. Don't
Right.
blame me for it.
But the second person, which is where I struggle with, and I've gotten way better over the years, is the person who's the point A to point B person. We have a mission today. We're gonna hike X amount of miles. We're gonna get from this spot to this spot. And if something happens in between point A and point B to sort of dislodge the trip, like we're gonna ignore it. We're gonna do everything we can to just keep pushing forward, even if it's like
Right.
a little side hike to a waterfall, even if it's just this interesting encounter with a person on the trail. And so now I'm trying to just recognize when these opportunities come up and really just soak them in along the way. And I've gotten better, but it's taken, years to get to that point. And so,
Have you done any have you done any through hikes? Do you have any through
I
hikes under
mean,
your belt?
nothing like what you've done, but yeah, I've done the John Muir Trail is the longest one I've
Okay.
done.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, the one thing I think I recently had a discussion on either my podcast or somebody else's podcast. There is a big difference, like where I want to kind of cut in on that, is there is a big difference between backpacking and through hiking. So I think to a
Oh yeah.
point, you kind of have to be the point A to point B person on a through hike. For years, people would say stuff to me like, "Why don't you stop and smell the roses? Why are you
Mm-hmm.
hiking so many miles? Like, why did you end up pushing an extra 10 miles into this town?" Like, well, sometimes it comes down to like, well, because I'm out of food. I know that
Right,
if I
right,
don't
right.
get from point A to point B in 4 days,
Mm-hmm.
and I only have, 4 days of food and I'm out here for 5 days. Well, I'm going to be pretty hungry. I'm going to be tired.
Right.
So I do think that some of that plays into that, but I do get what you're saying. I think after a while, you know, being the point A to point B person, it can definitely like wear on the experience. And that's definitely
Mm-hmm.
what happened to me over the years is
Yeah.
like, I got kind of tired of that. Like, well,
Right.
I know what I'm doing. I know point A to point B. I kind of want something new and I want to have a new experience, but yeah,
For sure.
sorry to
And
cut you off.
no. And honestly, yeah, thinking back, I was on a through hike of the Washington section of the PCT, and that didn't go as well. But I got a little ways in and I kind of ran into this town. I got invited by this kind of old gold miner guy to crash out in his camper for the night. And he was like an old guy, seemed pretty friendly. And so I did do that. That was one where I was like, all right, he's going to take me off the trail, but he's going to drive me back to the trailhead. And so that worked out. And then he ended up cooking me pancake breakfast and talking about all the aliens he
good
saw
though,
at
right?
nighttime. Yeah.
And like that's an experience that you'll never forget, right? Like you'll never
Correct.
forget that guy. You'll never
Correct.
forget those stories or those pancakes. And to
Right.
me, like that's why I travel. That's why I
Right.
go out on adventures, whatever you want to call them. You bike packing. It's why I went to randomly to Nepal last year. Like
Yeah.
didn't have a plan, just went to Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
Like landed in Kathmandu, had a loose plan of like, wouldn't it be cool to hike to Everest Base Camp? But for the most part, like I had no clue what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's what made the adventure. Like that's
Right.
what stuck with me and inspired me and wanted me to do more. So
Yeah. It's hard for people, but I think it's achievable. I think that, yeah, kind of pushing the limits of your comfort zone for sure. All right.
Yeah.
That was number one. That was a good one. I like that one. What's number
It's a
two?
long one.
No, that was a long one. That's all right. That's all right. That's good. That's worth it.
Well, number two would probably kind of come off of that, and it would be like let that experience humble you. Like get into situations where you're humbled. Something that I've been talking about this for a long time. And if you're familiar with my videos, if you listen to my podcast, you know that I'll talk a lot. Like when someone's like, "What was your favorite hike?" I'll always say it was the AT.
Right.
There's something magical about it. Something magical about that first hike. And I've talked to other hikers about it. That maybe their first hike was the CDT, maybe their first hike was the PCT, maybe their first hike was fill in the blank. And it's always their favorite one. It's always special to them.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, I wanted to know, like, what is it about that? Like, is it just because it's a new experience? And what is it about that new experience? And what I finally come up with is it's because it humbles you, right? Like you're going into something and you have no clue what you're doing. You don't know, like, yeah, you might have done your research and you might know that, on the first day, I'm going to hike 15 miles. And on the second day, I'm going to hike 10 miles.
Right.
But you don't really know anything about it. So you're very humbled, because I think that most of us in our regular everyday life, our 9 to 5, I always say the 9 to 5 life. I mean, some people have like a 5 to 11 life or whatever it is, right?
Right.
You get so used to kind of like your everyday life that you're not really experiencing something that's new that kind of wakes you up, right? But when you're going out to do something like, and it humbles you, and you kind of stop for a second and be like, oh, I have no clue what I'm doing. I have no clue what I'm doing. Like that is, to me, that is the best thing like that can happen. And that's why like I started really doing a lot of world travel over the last year. I was like, oh, I want to look for that again. I want to be humbled. So I think like letting it humble you, not, acting like what you're talking about, just listening, being open to conversations, like listening to other people's opinions, learning about their background, learning about maybe their religion, maybe their politics, maybe whatever they're into.
Careful.
A bunch of people just like clicked off the video.
I heard the word politics. I don't want to hear anymore.
I think that's what makes, to me, that's what makes life worth living, is like experiencing new things, and like being humbled to like, oh, like I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know everything. Like it's so. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
I recently
100%.
did a podcast about that, about
Yeah.
how making a mistake and like learning from it is the best thing you can do as a human, because it expands your consciousness, and it makes you it makes you a better person, I guess.
100%. That's why I always say that I must be one of those most prideful people in the world, because I get humbled every day. Like every day. Like I think I know something, or I think I'm good at something. Nope. Humbled all the time. So yeah, humility is a very strong characteristic. And I mean, really, that's what makes people want to be around you, is that humility you learn over the years can make you connect with people and appreciate the challenges they're having, whether it's physical challenges on the trail, your knee hurts, your shoulders hurt, whatever, or whether it's just, the mind game of having to do this repetitively for, day after day, week after week. So, okay, that's another good one. All right, I like it. So you got two good ones. All right, last.
Am I going too deep? Is this too deep?
No, we go. We're all over the place on our show. We go deep. We go Derek level answers, and then everywhere in between. So, all right, number 3.
Something I've said for years, and I'll always hold to it, is somehow document your journey. And not because you're going to start a YouTube channel, not
Right.
because you're going to share it on Instagram or become an influencer or a TikToker or whatever the kids are saying these days.
Right.
But so you can remember it. I can
Mhm.
tell you that over the past 8 years of all the different trails I've hiked and all the different people I've met, after a while, like all that stuff starts to kind of mush together and mesh
Right.
together, right?
Right.
The things that like I always want to remember, especially are like the people I meet, the
Mhm.
places I go, those misadventures that I have that do humble me. And
Right.
like whether it's writing and journaling while you're doing it or taking photos, like something I've really been big into lately is like portraiture. Like
Mhm.
something I regret hardcore from 8 years of doing all those hikes is like I took all these photos of like mountains and trees and it all looks
Right. Right.
I wish I would have taken photos of people. I wish,
Mhm.
the amazing family, the amazing couple that gave me a hitch into a town when I stood out there for 2 hours. I'm
Mhm.
starving, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm wet.
Right.
That picked me up and I had a great connection with and a great conversation with. I wish I would have
Right.
taken their photo so I could look back on that and have that memory and
Mhm.
remember that. So that's a
Right.
big one for me. Always has
Okay.
been.
Getting other people to care about it
Yeah.
as a non-YouTuber is is the challenge, especially your own kids. I'm like, hey, check this out. I'm chasing moose down the trail. Look at this. And they're like, yeah, just we don't care. So sometimes it's just for you, and that's okay. Okay, so speaking about documenting and kind of making this content, so you have a podcast, the Outdoor Evolution Podcast,
Yeah.
and you started it with episode 1 called "You Don't Know Me." And I
Yes.
thought, oh my goodness, this is a very provocative title. And so before I even ask about, kind of more about that concept, I was trying to figure out when you just type something up, you don't always know the tone of kind of what the intention is behind it. So I want to know the tone. Is this like, you know what? You don't know me. Or is this more like, I can't believe you think you know me because guess what? You really
Mhm.
don't know me. Or is this like a darker thing, a lighter thing, somewhere in between? Like, what's the tone of this thing?
That's a good question.
I know it's been a while. That was episode 1. It's been a couple years.
Been a long
So
time.
sorry, I apologize about that.
No, it's cool because it's kind of like led to a lot of things that I've done over the years. At the time, I was definitely like, I'll go on the record of saying like I was dealing with like struggling a lot with my own mental health and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of got to the point to where I've mentioned this. Anyone that's listened to other podcasts that I've done or listened to my podcast will know like I've talked about this a billion times of like when I got into making media and stuff, like I had no intention of it doing what it was. I was not trying to do it. It's why, like, when
Right.
my wife and I went out to do our first hike. It's why I was saying, like, document your stuff. I didn't film anything. I didn't have a YouTube channel. I didn't even have a Facebook. Like, I had nothing when we went out
Right.
to our first. It was actually the opposite. I got rid of all my stuff
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, I'm going to go off and be off the grid and have an adventure in the wilderness and be away
Right.
from people. And I don't want to be connected to the internet, the
Right.
internets. And it was so I didn't really anticipate any of that happening, and I'm a pretty personable person. I take things to heart. I'm a pretty passionate person, and friendships and stuff mean a lot to me. So
Mm-hmm.
over the years of like putting out media, and definitely got to say like out of all feedback and stuff that's come at me over the years, like 99% of it amazing. People are amazing. People are beautiful. But it's like those 1% that stick with you, or like things that someone will say that'll kind of throw you off a little bit, right? Like you can
Right.
read
Right.
100 amazing comments or
Yep.
100 amazing things about you. And then you read that one thing, you're like, oh no, what have I done? Like, oh no, I've done something bad.
But
Especially,
the YouTube comments are ridiculous because sometimes they don't even relate, to your content. You're just like, they're like, hey, this really meant a lot to me, or I'm going to go buy such and such product as a result of what you said. And then a comment's like, you're looking a little chunky this episode. Like, what's going on? Like, it doesn't even like, where's that from?
well, it's and that's kind of to my point. It's like I think some people that get into that world, like they know that going into it, right? Like like don't read the
Oh yeah.
comments; they don't mean anything. Like
Right.
I'm here to make some content and become famous and popular and make money. But that was never my intention. I was just like, oh, friends, right? Like So I
That's how
started
I
taking a
viewed
lot
it.
of
That's funny.
so I started taking a lot of that stuff to
That's
heart. Like
hilarious.
when someone would say something or someone would um when I would start, kind of turning off I'm a very multifaceted person. I have been for years. So I'm known for being the backpacking through hiking guy, but I do a lot of stuff. Like I'm really into bike touring. I'm a musician. I care a lot about public lands. I like
Mm-hmm.
doing film. I like photo. I like all of these different things. And the whole point of like starting the YouTube channel was always like I wanted to share all of this. My
Right.
first video on my channel, for anybody that wants to do a little scavenger hunt, if you go back and look, it has nothing to do with hiking at all. It has
Okay.
everything to do with cycling. My first video, I interviewed a good friend of mine that's a professional cyclist, and we went on a bike ride
Okay.
together. That's what the video was. And like,
Right.
so I was like, oh, well, this channel is just for me to share everything. So when I started talking, after everything blew up and I started talking about other things that mattered to me, whether it was like, the exploitation of some outdoor gear companies for
Mm-hmm.
the industry, or it was caring about public lands, or it was this like film that I was trying to make to give back. And I would get this weird pushback from people being like, who gave you a degree in ethics? Stick to reviewing gear. And
Right.
I was
Right.
just like, well,
Stay in your lane.
right. And like, that's worst thing you can ever do to me is like tell me to stay in my lane, because I will like do everything to like, you know, to fight against you to not do that. Right.
Right.
So I was kind of running into that. I was bumping into that. And then at the same time, like, maybe there'd be a day where I wouldn't have a good day necessarily, or a good
Mm-hmm.
week. I was going through something, and, like I wouldn't have the super happy charm on the video. And people would be like, well, you're not being the Darwin that like I know. Like, is
Right.
everything okay? You're being awfully negative. And
Mm.
so the whole title and that whole episode was kind of tongue in cheek of like, you don't know, like you don't really know
Tongue in
me.
cheek. Okay. Yeah.
Right, and it was all kinda at the time, I was sorta disenchanted with the whole YouTube celebrity thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
But
that's
they don't,
really
I mean, they
where
don't
that.
really know you in terms of
No,
like, because they don't have that relationship with you. But
right.
I think what you were getting at is that my authentic self is not, doesn't quite always match up with the videos that are put out. Like that is me, but there's
Yeah,
more to me.
and
That's one side of me, right?
it was also more of kinda like an extended conversation that I had had with friends for years that kinda did the same thing, people other friends I know that made YouTube videos or had podcasts and stuff like that, like, a lot of people that do this type of stuff struggle with that, right?
Mm,
Of this, like, this kind of one-sided relationship happening, where they feel like they're kind of trapped in this box and they can only talk about this one thing or act this certain way.
yeah.
It's this kind of strange phenomenon that's kind of happened with social media and videos and podcasts and Instagram, and the list goes on and on and on, of where you're
Right.
really kind of curating a certain version of your life. But, people are multifaceted, people are
Yeah.
multidimensional. I would assume that you don't just like to sit in a room with a wood wall, nice wall, by the way, um, and do podcasts. Like I won't get off here thinking like, man, I hope that guy's okay just sitting there for like the next handful of days before he does another podcast, because he's probably just
I hope there's a
so
fridge nearby. Yeah. In a bathroom.
yeah, or like a pee bottle or
Yeah.
something.
So yeah, at least that. At least that. That's
So
a
it
yeah.
was it was more of a kind of a conversation about
Right.
something that I've just found absolutely fascinating, especially being on that side of it over the years, of this
Okay.
weird I don't know if you've ever heard of parasocial disorder, but it's
Okay.
this weird thing like human beings have created over the handful of years of like seeing one side of somebody and then like
Oh, right.
associating just that with the person. So that's
Yeah.
really what the episode was about, of me just being like, hey, just know that like, one day or one week, your favorite creator, your favorite YouTuber or something might not put out a video, or they
Mhm.
might decide to do something different. I'll never forget years ago, way before I ever went to do the AT, way before I ever even thought about doing a YouTube channel. I mean, this is a long time ago. When I first started getting into watching YouTube,
Mhm.
there's a guy and he still makes videos called Adam the Woo. You're familiar
Okay.
with him?
I'm not.
Travels around, goes like his big thing was he did like urban exploration. So like he would go into these like abandoned houses and like check them out, or abandoned theme parks and stuff.
Okay.
Super cool. Gotten kicked out of Disney more times than like anybody should have.
He's going.
Still doing it though.
He's like, what's around this corner that says employees only?
Right. And he's like this. He had all these piercings and like tattoos all up and down his arms. Total like punk rock. He looked like a dude like if you ran into him like and you said the wrong thing, like he'd get in a fight with you, right?
Mhm.
But like he was the nicest, sweetest dude in his videos. He never cursed. He
Mhm.
never said anything that was off. He never said anything that would ever offend anybody. And I remember watching this interview with him where the interviewer asked him, like, you know, you look like a much tougher dude than you are. And he's like, well,
that's not a very nice question. You're way more of a sissy in real life.
Kind of a backhanded compliment. And they said, you know, he said, well, my biggest influence as being a creative or an entertainer or presenting myself in the world was always Mr. Rogers. And he said that Mr. Rogers was always, when he presented himself to people, whether it was on his show or in person, he always presented himself to be this person that, like, you know, would never have a problem with anybody, that everybody could get along with, and that everybody could, like, retain information and be inspired by. So when I first started doing YouTube videos, I was like, well, what's the whole point of me doing these videos? Well, it's to share information, right? It's to be like, hey, check this piece of gear out. Oh, hey, here's what I did right and here's what I did wrong, or to inspire somebody with like trail videos and stuff. So I kind of followed that same path of like, well, I want to make myself digestible to as many people as possible so I can share that information. I don't ever want to turn anybody off. I don't ever want to offend anybody. I don't ever want to upset anybody. So I think that just kind of comes from, you put a version of yourself on that you want people to see and you want people to, I guess, digest.
So you're the Mr. Rogers of the backpacking world.
That's not what I said.
Okay.
Totally opposite.
Okay. Well, in that episode, speaking of, like the version you put yourself on, what was interesting was you actually shared about some trail encounters you had and people that were finding you out on, I think it was on the PCT. And then they were, you know, like, how's your hike? And then you were responding. And you shared that at first it was super cool that people would recognize you, but after a while, it didn't sit as well with you because people are, you know, it came across at least as people.
And that's, you know, when I started talking about that stuff, I was just trying to be honest, you know, again, like trying to be open and trying to be like transparent of like, I had a problem with it. And like, it's really weird. A lot of people took that the wrong way of like, you had a problem with it, like, because people know who you are and your famous, like, oh, poor you. And it's like, well, I wasn't mentally prepared for that. Like, that's not what I was looking for when I did it. And it happened. It literally, like, people will tell, like, probably argue that to the day that I never exist on the internet again. But I assure all of you, it was all an accident.
No. We can solve this right now. We can do this right now. Okay, we're gonna do a role play. All right. You and I haven't met. I come down the trail and I recognize you, and I'm going to be fanboy recognizing you. And then you have to respond with what you would do today. Like you know, this is a couple years ago. You put this episode out. So like, what's this like today? Are you up for this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. There's a little bit of hesitation in your voice there. We're going for it.
I don't know, because now you put me on the spot, so I don't know what I'd say.
Okay. This is pretty low risk here. All right, so you're hiking down the trail. I'm coming up behind you, and I just kind of like look to the side, and I see him like, whoa, Darwin, my man, how's it going? You would say,
hey man, how's it going? How you doing?
Good. This is like the best day of my life. Like I watch all your videos. Look at my gear. I've bought this stuff because of you, because of what's in your pack.
How's your hike going?
It's going good now. This is so important. Okay, I know you got to get to wherever you're getting to today, but can I get a selfie with you?
And right there is the awkward turn for me, because here's the thing that like a lot of people won't talk about is because if you say no, you're a jerk, right?
Okay.
But also there's a part of me that feels like if I say yeah, and I'm like, of course you can take a selfie with me, then it makes you seem much more self-important than you actually are. I'm a dude on YouTube talking about like backpacks. Like, so to me, it was always an awkward encounter because it was like, why do you want to take a picture? Like, take a picture of the thing that you're doing. Like, you're out here just like I am. Like, we're both on the trail. Look, take a picture of that mountain. Look at that mountain. Isn't that mountain cool? Take a picture of that. I'll take a picture of it too. Or here, let me take a picture of you.
So you're trying to shed this like celebrity trail status because it's uncomfortable. And
because I don't think that I'm a celebrity.
Right. So there you go. That makes sense. All right. So it sounds like, would you rather have somebody do what portray what I just portrayed, or would you rather have somebody who recognizes you and then kind of scooches on by you and takes like, I don't know, kind of like an undercover shot of you, like I got Darwin, like I just saw him on the trail, and then keeps
That's
on
even
going.
weirder.
I don't know. I was trying to think of how I would handle the situation.
It's tough, man.
It's tough, and I was thinking, I don't know if this is even appropriate. Like, you could speak to this. I would try to just say, hey, like, hey, why don't you hike with me for a little bit if you can keep up? And yeah, we'll take a shot as we're going. And then that way,
I like that little like.
By the way, I was a
If you can
triathlete
keep up.
and I'm 1 in 10 that's going to finish this trail. So try to keep up.
My approach, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I just was thinking through that, and yeah, again, I'm not in your shoes, and so that's why I just found it fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
But speaking of like seeing the other side of you, you mentioned, being an advocate for supporting public lands, which doesn't come out in like a documentary on the PCT, or it doesn't come out in a gear episode or whatever. And so I kind of went through some of the text you had used for that, and it said something to the effect of like, you also want to hold companies accountable for giving back to the lands that they profit off of. I think that might even be a direct quote. So, and I found that really interesting. How do you do that? How do you hold the companies accountable? Like, what are you doing?
Well, I started, after a while, I started really getting into in 2018, like speaking of the PCT, when I was out there, I was getting all of these comments on videos, like I had only been like on the trail for maybe 500 miles. I was already getting comments of people being like, I can't wait to watch you triple crown and through hike the CDT next year.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm not even done with this trail yet. And like, so
Right.
again, as I was talking about earlier, like as soon as someone like tells me I shouldn't do something or I can't, I will go the other way no matter what. That's just my personality. It's what I do. Like I always fight the system. I played in punk rock bands when I was in high school. Like I'm an old, had Liberty spikes at one time, wore like spike bracelets and stuff, like anarchy.
Okay.
So we'll always fight the system, right?
Gotcha.
So, as I was going through all that, I decided like, oh, well, I have this weird soapbox that people have given to me for some strange reason, because I talked about a backpack and had a beard and raised my eyebrows. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean for me? What am I doing this for? Is it to become
love
famous?
this, yeah.
Is it to make money?
I love this
Why?
question. I love it. Yeah.
And I started thinking about like, well, that's, I started making these videos and I started doing this because my first adventure, my first big through hike, the AT, gave me so much. It completely remapped and reshaped the trajectory of my life, right? Like I was totally burnt out in life. I didn't want to work for anybody anymore. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to experience things. And the AT kind of opened this whole new world to me. It gave me a new life. I mean, obviously, like it gave me a new name, right? That's why I carried Darwin for so many years. It's like,
Right.
it made me a better person. It made me a totally different person. And so the whole reason I started it was to give back to it. I was like, well, it gave me so much. I can share my adventures and my knowledge and my mistakes and my triumphs, and hopefully that inspires somebody else to want to do it too, and want to start a YouTube channel and want to through hike the AT and want to whatever.
Right.
And I started like getting into these kind of say quarrels with some gear companies that I had kind of dabbled with and messed with on helping do some stuff. And I kind of like, I got a little disenchanted by the whole outdoor industry. And I'm like, well, I'm just a dude who makes goofy YouTube videos. And I mean, I don't even make $50,000 a year making YouTube videos, but somehow last year, by just having a platform and getting people to care and giving back, I was able to raise all this and give back to the thing that I'm benefiting off of. If I make a YouTube video and I make $1 off the YouTube video, what's the YouTube video about? It's about me hiking on public lands. It's about me being in a national park. It's about me, using something that I'm using on those public lands. I'm taking from it. It's up to me to get back to it, right?
Right.
They are public lands.
Correct.
So it started almost kind of burning me a little bit. I started getting irritated of like, well, why? I started looking at like companies and how much some of these big outdoor companies make every year, just billions of dollars.
Right.
Like what they actually give back, which is minuscule. So I was like, wait a minute, I'm this random little guy that talks about backpacks and stuff, and I can help raise all this money. Why aren't these companies? So it kind of helped start this campaign where I was asking companies, specifically companies in like the cottage industry, something I've been a part of over the years, to, hey, do you want to give back? Do you want to pledge, there's no like commitment, like hold a gun to their head, but it's like, do you want to pledge that every year you'll give like, 5% of your profits back to pick your trail association, pick your
Right.
national park, pick your national forest, wilderness area, whatever. And again, it was all to raise awareness for that and hopefully kind of change the conversation and make an overall bigger impact. It was my way of taking a platform that was given to me and being like, well, I'm going to use it for good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where all of that came from. What's funny is a lot of people took it like in the wrong way or something which is again really funny. And
They didn't take it the way I took it. Trust me, I got two very different reactions.
it was, it really came down to, I'm going to adjust this a little bit. It came down to, again, people seeing things one way or hearing things one way, kind of what we've been talking about, like the whole, you don't know me. Like, well, you don't really know what my intentions are here. Like my
Right.
intentions aren't to be a famous YouTuber and make a bunch of money and get rich doing it. Like my intentions are to do what I did when I started all this. And it was to
Yeah.
give back to the thing that I love so much and it's given me so much. So yeah, it's
Okay. So here are my two reactions, because I'm guessing you haven't gotten, well, I don't know. The first reaction is the fact that you like identified that you have a platform and that it should be put to some sort of use or purpose, I think is amazing, because I've actually challenged some YouTubers to that point. Like, hey, like you're really popular, aside from just being the backpacker, like, are you doing like, what are you using this popularity for?
right.
And they're like, yeah, I haven't really thought about that. Or, nothing, it's kind of like the Michael Jordan thing where it's like, he didn't want to play a part really in anything, politics, whatever, because he's like, Republicans buy shoes too. And so as a result, like he had a massive platform. And what is he known for? He's just known for basketball. Like he hasn't pushed any sort of like awesome agenda forward. And so anyway, so kudos to that. The fact that you had that awareness, that was my first response. But when I actually read this on the website, I thought, okay, now we're talking here, because there's nothing better than like challenging outdoor companies. And I love doing that too, whether it's about their products or, in this case, about how much they're giving back to public lands, as you stated. And so I was kind of envisioning, like, maybe we could go to like the outdoor retailer show and we could just go, microphones in hand, and let's just go and ask the hard questions and just challenge them on that. I thought I could see Darwin being a partner in crime in that sort of venue. Is this who you are? Or am I off base here?
No, I think it was just, I mean, kind of to your point of, I was like, well, here's something I care about and that I'm passionate about. And like, the only way to make change is just like trying to, get people to collectively make change. So if I make this kind of the norm and I get people to care about this thing, well, maybe we can kind of turn the tides. And, at the same time, you get like early 2020, you see public lands getting absolutely destroyed because of like the overpopulation because of COVID and stuff like that. Right. So, it was really something I was really passionate about and I really cared about. And what was so strange about it, man, is like, I figured it's like, well, we all love the trail and we all love outdoors and national parks. Like everybody's going to really get behind this. It was the opposite. And I was like, oh, okay, right on.
All right. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, and appreciate, like, again, using your platform, for the good of the outdoors. Like, yeah. So
I try.
You referenced your gear company. So I want to talk about that. And I've got kind of a different question. I think I had modified this since we first talked, but basically, so, okay, you've got a gear company named Evolved Supply Co. And you're selling backpacking gear, but what's that?
All kinds of gear.
Yeah.
I got show and tell items here.
Oh, do you? Okay. All right. My question is going to be very different than what we're about to talk about. So, but let's go with that. Let's see what you got. All right, go for it. Show and tell.
Oh, no. I'll show them as we talk.
I think my question
we're not just a backpacking company.
I was really,
no, it's cool.
When I clicked on it, I was the most interested in the backpack. So I was looking around.
That was our first product, right?
Yeah.
So like,
I was like looking at all the materials and the stats and the specs, or whatever you want to call it, and all that stuff. But as I was processing through that, like, it made me think of something that, like, it made me interested in your perspective on this, because you've got a gear company, and at least, from what I was gathering from your website, it looks like it's doing pretty well, because you can't keep up with the orders, and the orders are so far out.
We're a small company, bro.
Okay. I don't know.
I keep getting emails from people like, why is your lead time so long? It's like, there's two of us.
I just assumed it was because you're doing so well.
Well, I mean, we're doing well as well, but also, like, I mean, when you only got two people
For
doing
sure.
it.
For sure. Small company. Okay. But still a company. And so in the past, like you've been very vocal about the gear that you use from people that are sending you gear that, you know, that they're not sponsoring you. You send the gear back. You don't want to, I guess, be influenced by the companies. And so you're very vocal about like, this is the appropriate thing to do so that I'm not sort of compromised. Has that perspective changed at all in terms of like trying to get your own company name out there, or kind of how that's going to work, or is it the same tune?
Well, the perspective changed a little bit because I did get to the point, I'll be totally transparent, that I was like, well, I did that for so many years, but in the grand scheme of things, nobody really cared but me.
Okay.
Because I'm a really like pride-driven person.
No, it's like an integrity thing. You're trying to have integrity, right?
It is, but like when your integrity only matters, like whenever it it only really matters to you, it doesn't matter to anybody else.
Okay.
Um, there's a lot of I never wanted to help sell something I didn't 100% believe in.
Okay.
And I didn't, I wouldn't buy and use myself. So that's really where a lot of that came from, is like, well, I'm not going to, if I wouldn't buy it myself and pay full price for it, I don't want to sell it to people, right? There's a
Fair.
lot
Yeah.
of people on YouTube, a lot of people on YouTube that just constantly like, here's 18 sleeping pads, and this one's great, and this one's great, and this one's great.
Right.
Right. Like that was never me. I never did that, which is funny. Again, kind of going back to real early on when we first started the podcast, like I, I get put in that realm of like, well, you were the gear review guy. And I'm like, not really. Like I use the same, like I say sleeping pad because I literally use the same sleeping pad for like, I don't know, 3, 4 of my through hikes and never tried
Right.
anything different. And, I never wanted to be a salesman. I wanted to talk about the things that I loved, or the things I was excited about, or the things that I wanted. So if a company sent me something and there was like this incentive of like, here, talk about this and we'll give you X amount of dollars, or we'll do this for you, or we'll do that or that. It's like, well, then it's not really something I'm not talking about it because I believe in it or I care about it. I'm being influenced. And some people will say like, well, I don't let the company influence me. I don't 100% believe that. I think
Yeah.
that, if somebody gives you something and then pays you something to talk about it, you're definitely not going to go on there and be like, I hate this and it's the worst thing I've ever used.
Right.
So
sort of. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's been products that we've gotten and then we're like, yeah, we can't talk about this. This is junk. Like,
yeah,
we've had
and
that.
I've done that too. I've told people that for years, is like, I've gotten a lot of stuff. Like
Yeah.
early on, I did take stuff from people.
Okay.
I never took I never let anybody pay me. So that was the thing, is I never let anybody sponsor my videos or pay me. Anytime someone would reach out to me and be like, hey, I got this product, I'd love to send it to you and get your opinion. My response, I literally had like a copy and paste response. I was like,
Okay.
you are more than welcome to send me whatever you'd like. Just know it doesn't guarantee that I'll talk about it. I'll feature it in a video. I'll take a photo of it. I'll say anything positive or negative about it.
Because we've processed through this before, and it's easy to say, like, when it's clear, it's easy just to say no, like I'm not interested, or this is junk, and so we're not going to talk about it on the podcast. Or it could be something that is highly valued by a lot of people, and we still determine it's junk. Then we're happy to talk about it on the show. But what like our coding is like, I'm going to bring this on the next backpacking trip. That's like the highest compliment I can pay to a piece of gear, where I'm like, this has worked so well. I'm actually like, this is something that I'm going to use.
Absolutely.
But I'm also careful to say, like, look, so I just tried out, for example, like a Hyperlight backpack. And I know people love the Hyperlight backpacks. I didn't love it. It was fine. It wasn't terrible. It's just the way that it fit me in terms of like being fully loaded out. It was just too tall and looked kind of weird.
Yeah, it wasn't for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't for me, but I don't think I'm like the end all be all voice on that, because I know a lot of people that really love it and they swear by it. And so I just say, this is who this is for, but I'm not necessarily bashing the company. I'm just saying I'm sharing my own experience for it. But yeah, so I found it interesting, kind of where you would take it to the next level and just, I'm just sending everything back, or you're, what you just shared.
Yeah.
Sending
And
me an
again, like
invoice,
I was never down for like reviewing stuff just to review it, like just to
Gotcha.
make content. I was more like, oh, well, I'm going to talk about this thing because I've used it over thousands of miles, or I want to
Right.
use this over thousands of miles. And maybe somebody else is going to use something over thousands of miles. I'm going to share that. That's where I always came
Fair
from.
enough.
I
Gotcha.
was always trying to just share, like, here's what I've learned from my misadventures or my adventures. take it or leave it. Like maybe it's, and you'll hear me say it in tons of my videos, like this works for me. It might not work for you. So I always wanted to, you know, tell people that like, it's all subjective. Like a hyperlight pack not working for you doesn't mean anything to somebody that put it on. It's the most comfortable thing they ever put on their body. Right. And likewise, like I own a gear company now. Like I know that, you know, this backpack, show and tell.
Here it is. Yeah. What you got? Backpack. Okay.
It's not for everybody. Right.
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, is it the perfect backpack? Well, for me, it is. Why? Well, number one, I designed it, but is it the perfect backpack for you? Well, I don't know. So I'm not going to tell you it is. Right? Okay. I'll tell you to check it out.
I want to check it out. Okay. So you got your backpack and that's, yeah. So that, sorry, I'm brain farting. So that is the Evolve Supply Company or Co backpack. And all right.
The Ranger is what
the
it's
Ranger. Mm-hmm. Yep. It looks like it matches what you're wearing. Actually, that's really impressive. Your shirt. It's like
branding, sir. That's number one branding right there.
Okay. And I think wasn't it a la carte? Like you could have the core pack, you could get the hip belt separately. There's like Y straps. Isn't that how you had it structured?
Yeah. So when we did the pack, I wanted to make a really, I wanted to make a super like modular pack. Something that's drove me nuts for years is I've had like multiple packs for multiple different trips. Cause like, you know, I like doing the ultralight through hike where I only want something like a 35-liter pack. I don't want to carry a lot. I don't want a hip belt, but I mean, there's other times I live in Arizona, like the Grand Canyon is 45 minutes away from here. Like I might want to go do a night in the canyon where I'm going to have to carry more water. I'm going to have to carry more food. So for something like that, I need a little bit more literage. I need a hip belt, stuff like that.
Right.
And living out of a van for years, like space is limited. I want one thing that I can kind of trade parts on and off and use for just about everything. So that's kind of where the whole idea really behind everything that we started doing for Evolved came from. Is I wanted to make modular gear. I wanted to make stuff that it's something that's very important to me. Most of my gear lists that people will go see, like I'll talk about something that'll be like, well, I can use it for this, and then I can use it for this, and I can use it for this. I cannot stand. The only reason I was ever ultra light, hardcore quotes on that, because man, that term gets thrown around way too much. Is because of simplicity. It wasn't because I wanted to be light and fast. It was because like I don't like messing with a lot of crap. Like,
oh my gosh. Yeah, for sure.
Right?
And I
like,
think that's the biggest issue is like, that's why people take so long to pack up. They got so much stuff.
Some people carry like the little battery powered air pump that I've seen that a lot lately.
Right.
That's awesome. Me, it's an extra little thing that would just annoy me to try to like, oh crap, where did I put that? Is it in this part of my pack? And
no, it's not, but it's not even like, it's like, that's one thing, but then you have little doodad for this and this. And before you know it, you got junk everywhere. Even if you bag it up well, you still got to throw it in the bag and it's,
So I love items that are, you know, you can get multiple uses out of. I'm a big fan of stuff like that. So when we designed this, I wanted it to be, if most people that get on the website get confused because we call it a 35 to 40 liter. Most people are like, well, what the hell is that? Is it a 35 or is it a 40? Technically it's a 40-liter pack, but the reason we said 35 to 40 was the pack was built around the whole 35-liter pack mentality, right? Which has kind of become over the years, it's become my perfect through hiking pack. It's 35 liters, about perfect for me.
Gotcha.
So it rolled all the way down like it is now.
Yep.
35-liter pack. But we put an extended collar on it, a really extra long collar on it.
Right.
So that way you could take it, roll it out, and still get 2 rolls on it. And it's about 40 liters of a pack.
Okay.
So again, if I'm going to go do something like a really light hike or a through hike where I want to go really minimal, it can be that pack. I take the hip belt off. I take the Y strap off. It's a single leash over the top. It's that pack. But if I'm going to go do a hike in the canyon, I can put a padded hip belt on it. I can put the detachable Y strap on it. I can roll it all the way out and boom, I got a 40-liter pack that can carry a little more weight. That's a little more comfortable. So that was kind of the whole thought process behind the pack. So to your question, we offer the pack in a complete version that comes with the hip belt, 2 shoulder pockets, the Y strap.
That's right,
we even throw in a pack liner, like an Alafume liner.
Oh, okay.
And you know, you can take it and then strip it down however you want to, customize it however you want to, or you can get the pack completely stripped down without all the extra doodads and features. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, man. All right, so that's okay. You said you had a couple show and tell things. So get the pack. That's the one I was checking out the most on the website. 'Cause that's one I like checking out, to be honest.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
pack stuff.
And so we didn't just want to do packs because again, like I'm a very multifaceted person. I do a lot of different stuff. I've probably done just as much bike packing and bike touring over the last 8 years that I have through hiking, which I talk about through hiking. I share that again, kind of to my point earlier, is like people do different things. So I buy a lot of bike bags as well. So put it here.
I can see it. Yeah.
So this is it's what's typically called a handlebar bag, or it can be a seat pack. So it straps on your handlebars with these right here. That goes onto your head tube, and it kind of sits like that. And then, opens up in the front, extended. So this is a product called the Ape Man. Anyone that's been on our website over the last handful of months probably sees the super blurry picture of this that says coming soon. We've been developing this for quite some time. So same thing. It has like the big, roll top.
Oh yeah. Oh my! Wait, what's the capacity on that? That looks like a lot for like.
So this is an early prototype. This has got too long of a collar. The collar is actually coming down a little bit. You're getting some inside baseball here. And then check this out. Ready? Here's the secret sauce. Wait for it. It's magnetic.
Oh, I could hear something.
Yeah. So we're doing bags, obviously, and then obviously I'm a creative filmmaker, photographer. This is our camera strap that actually comes out.
Okay.
Next month. This is the first time anybody's seen this actually.
Nice.
So quick release straps, part
quick
leather.
Release straps. Okay. So how does that work? When you say quickly, it's like a clip. Okay, like a backpacking clip. It looks like.
So these are we didn't create these. This is a company called Peak Design. They've been making equipment for years for camera stuff. But the camera clip that people have up here, that's Peak Design as well. Okay. So we became like a licensed Peak Design dealer. So and you can also take it, clip it on your bike packing bag on the D-rings, and then use it as an over shoulder strap whenever you're doing bike touring and bike packing and you need to go in someplace.
Gotcha.
So multi-purpose. And then apparel. We actually have 2 pieces of apparel right now that we've been working on. The one is one that I've talked about for years, and I swear to all of you it's coming sooner than later, is a sun hoodie that I've literally been talking about for 2 years. I can't 100% show you everything, but here I'll prove to you that it exists.
I've gotten more on the sun hoodie train in the last year or so.
It's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Check it out. Look, you can see that it exists. Look.
Yep. Okay, there it is. He's got the sleeve going with the thumb loop right there.
I can't show you any more of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'll give you a little bit of a close-up of the material.
Okay.
There you go. Look at that. For anybody that's listening that wants to check out any of this stuff, we'll be out at Appalachian Trail Days in Damascus next month.
Yes. Okay.
So we'll have a booth out there. I'm also premiering a film out there that I shot with Sawyer and Jennifer Farr Davis.
Oh, I think I saw something on that.
Yeah, okay. in Fiji about some of the awesome work that Sawyer's been doing for the last 15 years around the world. So we're going to be premiering a film there, but we'll also have a booth for Evolved, and we'll have all this stuff. But an item that we're going to be premiering there is something we've been hardcore teasing over on our Instagram. Not only do we make in-house products, but we also decided to start doing co-branded products. So something that's drove me nuts for years is are you a beer drinker? You into beer at all?
No, sorry. Talking to the wrong guy on that one. Yeah. Well, but you can use your beer analogy. We have beer drinkers to listen.
Yeah. Well, typically like 2 breweries will like brew a beer together, and it's a collaboration beer, right? They both come together and they make a thing, because you're like, well, I like beer from this brewery and I like beer from this brewery, so of course I would like a beer that they both make together. Or I mean, the bike packing industry, tons of bike packing companies like get together and they make a bag, like a limited release of a bag. So it's something I wanted to hardcore do for a while. So a bunch of companies that I've helped work with over the years, help develop gear and stuff like that. And one of those companies is Enlightened Equipment. So I've really good friends with the cats at Enlightened Equipment. I've known Tim for years. When we did the film, the Arizona Trail film back in the day, they helped donate a lot to that. Really good people, good company. Can't say enough good things about them.
Okay.
And I'm not sponsored, folks. I just really like the company. And we've been teasing a logo for a while now that is a co-branded logo. I asked if I could show this because we had to all agree that if I could do
This
it
is
or
your
not.
company. Who are you asking? What's going on? Is it
Well,
is
the
that
other company that I'm co-branding with.
Okay, so you have some sort of contract with them. Okay.
Yeah.
So
We got to make sure everybody's happy. So that is an Evolve Supply Co. and Enlightened Equipment logo together.
on the tag, it's like dual
On the
tag
tag.
or dual logo on the tag. Yeah.
You can
Okay.
see the color of it. You can see it's got a hood.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you a little. I'm gonna give you a little taste, a little tease. If anybody wants to really see it,
He's
if they
only
wanna
showing
check it
part
out.
of it, so like it's leaving us. We're like trying to figure. Is this like the silk bag where you have like the human formed sleeping bag? I'm just kidding. He gave me a face.
It's a human form sleeping bag.
You haven't seen the silk bag? You
No.
wear your sleeping bag. You got the sleeping bag arm. It's like a big snowsuit, basically, but it's meant to be a sleeping bag at the same time. It's a ridiculous piece of gear. I was just messing with you.
No, but I'm interested.
Okay.
I'd like to have one of those, please. Sign me up. I will take a sponsorship from that company.
Okay. Okay. So I don't know if it's fair to say, like kind of wrapping this up. I don't know if it's fair to say, like, you're back. I mean, you didn't fully leave YouTube, but
No, I never did.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I always said that I'd be back if I had something to share, something to talk
right.
about. It just, took me
So
a
what do
while.
we have to look forward to on your channel in 2023, and just in general, any content you're making that we should be looking forward to that you haven't mentioned already? What do we got going on?
Yeah, so number one, the thing that's been taking up the most of my time is, like I said, I've been working on a documentary film with the good folks at Sawyer, the water filter that everybody's familiar with, and Jennifer Farr Davis. If you don't know who Jennifer Farr Davis is and you're in the backpacking world, come on, folks. Shot over to Fiji last year with them in May. May to shoot a documentary film about the work that Sawyer's been doing around the world for the past 15 years. But a lot of that started in Fiji, is when they first started doing that, installing filters in remote parts of countries to bring clean water from border to border in countries around the world.
Okay.
Awesome company. I cannot say enough amazing things about them. Just beautiful, beautiful people.
Okay.
Fantastic. Support Sawyer. I would totally advertise them as much as possible.
Buy their filters, not the snakebite kit. That's what I say.
No snakebite kit. Their permethrins really good too.
Okay. Yeah. That's a whole other story. Sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going. Keep going. It's not about the snakebite kit.
So that's the big thing I've been working on. And that film is going to premiere next month at AT Days. So I'll be out there with Evolve Supply Co. We'll be premiering a film. I'll be out there with my good buddy, Benny Braden. Okay. So around putting out a bunch of content from adventures and trying to inspire people and show them some stuff, I'm gonna start doing a bunch of content again, but less of like just reviewing a general piece of gear. I more want to talk about the stuff that I use on the adventures. So gear videos, gear lists, but also where I'm incorporating, cameras, stuff that I use to help tell a story, bike stuff, backpacking stuff, kind of a little bit of everything. So as I said, in I think my update video, it's like, I'm not going to go back to like doing a video a week and chase that whole algorithm thing, because that gets way out of hand when you start doing it. It kind of consumes your life. But when I feel like I really want to share something with people and want to put something on there, I plan on releasing it. So over the next handful of months, I will be releasing a handful of videos. Okay. So yeah,
we have those to look forward to, and it sounds like amazing adventures along the way. I mean, you're going all over the place. So,
and I appreciate anybody that's watching this or listening to this. I appreciate everyone that has supported me over the years of the stuff that I have done, and I hope that everybody will stick around and come along on these new things and be as multifaceted as I am, and want to experience new things.
Indeed, and we'll start. I mean, we're happy to link what you already have going on, and you'll have to kind of reach back out to us once things are more available, whether you put it on Amazon or wherever, whether it's just your regular YouTube channel, and we'll definitely pump it up. Happy to support whoever comes on our show. So Darwin, man, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been an awesome conversation, and we dug into so many things, and I even asked you some uncomfortable things, and you just roll with it. And so I so appreciate your time.
I like rambling. I'm a storyteller. I like talking.
All right.
So I appreciate you having me, bud.
All right. Thank you. All right, my friend. So you missed this interview again, but what'd you think?
I mean, I think there's a lot of takeaways. I think you, some things that stuck out were like, he made some good points about the, humility makes people want to be around you. And You know, I think sometimes like when you are, you know, constantly talking about yourself, I think it's kind of deterring if people want to be around you. So you can relate with that, obviously. So
I can relate where people want to be around me, or you can relate because you're so lonely.
I like that you spun that really. That was good. You're getting good at that. That was good. But no, the whole thing about like, you know, being a celebrity, I can't handle the people wanting the autographs and all that stuff. I think, you know, for me, I'm like, look, if you're going to jump on YouTube, we all start from ground zero, right? We all start on any platform, Instagram, TikTok, you all start from ground zero. But like, this is the way people are becoming celebrities quick nowadays. Like this, it's not like you just got to be on TV to be a celebrity. So, you know, there's people that I don't know who they are, but they got 20 million followers on Instagram or whatever. So you're going to get noticed. So, I mean, once
not
you
everybody
open,
we're not noticed. So,
but you don't, but what I'm saying is like, you don't know when you might like hit that boom. Like we might be cool right now, but then maybe in a year, it's like, boom, 200K. And you know, a lot of people know who you are on the trail and all this other stuff.
You want that, like, Derek? Be honest. Like,
if it happens, it happens. Like if it happens, it happens.
For sure. And if it happens, I'm sure you'll handle it great.
It doesn't.
My question is, do you want it?
I don't crave it.
Okay.
It'd be a bonus.
You kind of need it. I think you want more friends and you want friends to admire you.
I think you have expressed many times you're a loner and you like to do trips with brand new people to get new friends. I get it. It's totally fine. You gave out a big fanboy vibe. Like in the beginning, I loved your fanboy vibe. It was just like Mr. Dark. Your whole like thing when you did the fanboy interpretation later on in the episode.
Interpretation?
Like, okay.
Wait.
Yeah, you're like, if I'm on the trail and I'm like super excited to see you. I'm like, wow.
No, you're missing. Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. That's not what that was at all. That was.
You weren't a fanboy on that? You were pretending to be a fanboy.
That was something that's been brought up multiple times on his podcast. I'm not sure if it's on his YouTube channel where like he has these awkward encounters with people and he doesn't know how to handle it. But now we're like a couple years down the road and I was like, well, how are you going to handle it now?
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just, what I'm pointing out. I
was playing the fanboy. I was playing the role of that, but I wasn't.
Right. No, I know that. I'm saying your role of that was pretty funny because I was like, wow, I would probably run away if I saw that fanboy on the trail. But I see, but your point was made. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like if you want a selfie and it's like kind of awkward, but I'm like, you know, you're a big deal. You're a celebrity. If somebody asked for your selfie on the trail, what would you do? You'd be like, absolutely.
Me? Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It usually goes the other way. I usually like find random hikers. I'm like, can we take a selfie?
Yeah. I mean, and then there's, you know, the thing I liked actually kind of what he said about the, you know, I don't really do a lot of research when I watch, you know, before I go on a trip. Maybe I'm not doing as much research as I should. Maybe I'm not watching videos. Maybe I'm not getting all the intel. I think there's some, in general, like I think it might be wise to like check a map and like kind of get an idea of what you're doing. But I liked his mentality of like, I just want to get out there and have this experience and not like oversaturate myself before I go over there, you know?
Right.
So I thought there was some value in that. I thought that was pretty cool, but your whole, we're going to have to dive into your whole pancake alien guy story. That was really interesting. I don't remember hearing that story.
Have I not
tell me that story?
That?
I don't know, but that was weird.
I don't know.
You could have got abducted or killed, but whatever. It's fine if it's for pancakes. I mean, you know, no big deal.
It's worth the risk for pancakes. Yeah. That was okay.
Overall, it was good. I mean, I thought it was cool that, you know, he was saying, you know, in his experience, like the things that you remember are the things that kind of, you know, go awry essentially. So, I think
I was thinking of you when you were saying that actually.
Yeah, we were talking about that a lot. So,
for sure.
I would agree with that. But
so let me hit on a couple of things. First of all, so the fanboy thing at the beginning, like I'm just trying to pump him up and like welcome to the show. If I came across as fanboy, that's not my intention.
No, it was at all. No, it was funny. It's all I'm saying.
Okay, not at all. So anyway, the YouTube version of this episode has more of the gear that his company is pumping out. And so it's kind of more of a show and tell. It didn't play well on the audio version. So if you want to take a look at that, you can click over to the YouTube version and check that out. We did talk about, So
you made a point too. I was going to say this before I forgot. You made a point too about being like an A to B mentality. Do you feel like you've come a long way from your A to B mentality?
Well, let me ask you. You're on the same trips with me. Have I come a long way?
You see how he spun that, folks? It was supposed to be a self-reflective moment.
I already was self-reflective. I said that in the interview. Now it's your turn to judge me.
Oh, if I'm judging, okay, that's totally different. Yeah, no. So for the A to B, I mean, I want to say I feel like you've loosened up. You're not as like gung ho as like, okay, guys. There's been mornings on the trips where you're like, okay, guys, we got like 15 miles to do today. We got to get going. We got to get out of it, you know. And I think you've just kind of like part of you, not all of you, but part of you is just like thrown in the mental towel of like, you know what, these guys are going to sleep until 10.
Right.
They're going to like friggin' have breakfast till 11:30. I'm just going to leave early. And they can catch up. They want to catch up. It's cool.
I haven't done that yet. I've not done that.
You have what? Left early?
Yeah.
From a campsite, you haven't left early?
We've broken up into 2 separate groups before, but I haven't said like, all right, you guys are still just lounging. See you later. I haven't done that.
Not like a jerk off like that, but like we've separated.
No, do people that are just sleeping in and taking forever to pack up, you think I'm the one being the jerk in that situation? Like,
no. I'm not saying you're being a jerk. I'm saying you're not being a jerk off. I'm saying they're being what they're being. And I think
I will share this.
You fight it less. You fight it less.
In terms of self-reflection, I spend a lot of time on the trip standing around waiting, like a lot. I'm packed, ready to go. I'm standing around waiting. And so I think that, I'll probably be more of the like, hey, we're, try to catch up. We'll take a long lunch break and, get your stuff together. Because I think people are going to end up packing up faster when they see the others have left camp, right?
Right.
Yeah. So there's going to be more of that coming up for sure. And I'm just not, you and I, we don't sleep in forever. We don't wake up really early either. We're just kind of somewhere in the middle. We just get up and we go. We don't have to spend forever. So I imagine you and I will be hiking together as a result.
But we pack quicker than others. I think some people like to unload every night and every morning. And
let's get back to some of the comments that came out as interview though, before we jump into some. So is he the Mr. Rogers of the backpacking world, as I
Mr. Rogers of the backpacking world? I mean, I think we all can strive to be like Mr. Rogers. I don't know.
I don't want Mr. Rogers.
What are you talking about? Mr. Rogers is awesome.
He's a nice guy. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know if I know him well enough to say that, but he seemed very nice.
I don't think so. I just thought it was funny.
What is he, more of like a Loki on the trail, or like a Thor? What Marvel character would he be on the trail?
Loki is.
Let's play a game.
Hilarious. Let's play the game. All right, I'll follow up with that. Can Darwin Onthetrail change his trail name to Loki? That's a question.
Were you offended by his evolutionary name?
Why would I be offended by that?
I'm just making sure. I don't know if you're weird by that. Okay.
Some people are weird by that.
I know. I'm just checking to see if you are.
People that name themselves or get trail names like that. He didn't name himself. People that get trail names like that are not challenging my belief in God whatsoever.
Okay.
So
good.
If you put stickers on the back of your cars where like there's the fish or the other animal eating the fish or something eating that, or truth eating that animal, like like you can win the sticker game. It's not about the stickers, folks. Yeah.
What would your trail name be though? Did we talk about this? I feel like we're reflecting about the Darwin interview. We're not. It just made me think
what you're gonna do in camp and how you pack up fast, or what my trail name is. So
soft serve, Carl. Soft serve shoulders, Carl.
Okay.
I don't know, something.
All right. Let's. Okay. The last thing I had was at the very end. I don't know if he caught it, but he called me Bud at the end.
Hey, Bud. I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
At the very, very end?
Yeah.
How did he say it? I don't think I heard that.
I didn't write down the quote exactly.
Oh, I thought it stuck with you more.
It was an endearing way, maybe in a friendly way. Do you think he wants to go backpacking with me? Should we invite him?
No, he does not.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
He thought you were in a wood cabin, He thought you were in a wood
because
cabin.
of the YouTube backdrop. Yeah.
Clearly.
He might have.
It's so realistic, you know what I mean?
Right. Man, it's not always easy to get the people that are in high demand, such as Darwin. So Darwin, we really appreciate the fact that you were on the show, and man, yeah. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Awesome.
So as a famous YouTuber, I've got YouTube trivia coming up for you right after this. Here we go. YouTube trivia is brought to you by Vaucluse Gear. Want more ventilation on your back when backpacking? Looking to sweat less on the trails this summer? Check out Vaucluse's ultralight ventilation backpack frame, an accessory that installs on your favorite pack and creates a ventilating airflow gap. The Generation 2 is being released right now. Don't sweat the big stuff. Use code blisters for $10 off at vauclusegear.com. All right. YouTube trivia. I don't know if this is easy or hard. I feel like it's easy. I don't know.
You think it's easy? Okay.
I think it is, but you always complain, so we'll find out. Number
I
one.
always complain.
Yeah, 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Number one. What is the most watched video on YouTube?
Ooh, most watched video.
Yeah, I got multiple choice. Is it A, Baby Shark Dance?
Oh, yeah.
B, Charlie Bit My Finger?
Mm.
C, Monster Mash by Mr. Beast? D, How to Find a Sasquatch by Backpacking and Blisters?
Oh, it's got to be D, right? I'm going to
wish.
say it's either Mr. Beast or the first. I'm going to say Baby Shark.
Baby Shark Dance is correct.
Yes.
Like 12 billion or something.
Yes.
Monster Mash is just like I just made that up. I don't even know. What
Sounded
that means,
ridiculous.
but yeah. So
Yeah.
I didn't check what Charlie Bit My Finger was at, but that's legendary as well.
That is
So,
legendary. What was
Okay,
Mr. Beast? Was Mr. Beast up there?
I mean, he's the most famous or most popular YouTuber out there. I don't know what his videos are. I don't watch him. Sorry.
He's got some cool stuff. Yeah, it's pretty rad.
I couldn't even tell you what his stuff's about. That's where I'm
He
at.
like went and did he went and bought LASIK surgery for like this whole village one time, and just they all got LASIK surgery like right there. It was pretty rad. It was pretty sweet.
I think I heard that one.
Yeah, he does some rad stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, number 2.
What do we got?
Besides Darwin, can you name 3 backpacking YouTubers?
Backpacking YouTubers. We got
YouTubers that specialize in the backpacking genre.
We have Dan Becker. We have
One.
Justin Outdoors.
2.
We have Jesse the Villain.
Okay. Wow. I
Yeah,
thought you'd struggle more with that.
Carl
can you name,
Mandrioli.
Can you name any more?
Carl Mandrioli.
I was technically teamed up with you, so not solo.
Mission fulfilled.
Okay.
3
All
for
right.
3.
You won. You had this trivia, but let's ask the last question just for fun. We are approaching 1,000 subscribers if we've not gotten there already.
Whoa.
What did we say we'd do when we hit that goal?
Throw you in a cold lake.
I would take that. I will take that. No.
What did we? You probably wrote it down.
I
ice
just
cream?
remembered it because it was important to me.
I don't even care. I
know you don't. You're being sarcastic.
This is stupid.
But truthful at the same time.
What is it? What was it?
Okay, so you missed this one. Yeah, 2 out of 3. We said we were going to do a live show.
Oh, a live show. Oh,
yeah, on YouTube. And so I'm guessing mid to late June, we'll have something lined up. Yeah,
sure.
We'll do it.
I'm in.
Okay. All right. And we'll have more information about that later, but we're almost there. We are, yeah. So good job, my friend, on YouTube trivia. We've got a couple tidbits, and one of these is sent to us by Rocky. This is an interview he did with a ranger.
My name's Dave. I'm a ranger in the Eastern Sierra. I was asked a question about Snicker bars once. I think Snicker bars are both a candy bar and an energy bar. 1, because they taste great like a candy bar. 2, they provide fuel like an energy bar.
All right. So Ranger not really kind of taking a side there, kind of riding the fence. What do you think?
What a waste of time that was, right? I mean, geez, Rocky, you gotta press on that a little harder. You know, I mean, like get him to answer, like, yo, this is for the people.
Right.
These are for the children.
Yeah.
Throw the children card out there. I don't know.
Right.
I think
Pick
he's
a
just
side. Pick a side. Come on.
Pick a side. Buff or no buff? Clip, aqua clip, or no aqua clip?
I would rather have you take Derek's side on this than ride the fence.
Which is Snickers, is a candy. Yeah, exactly.
That's what your side is. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah,
again.
just in case you forgot, which you probably did. Yeah. Okay. That's too bad. What a waste.
What a waste. You're so ridiculous. Rocky takes the time to interview a ranger, and your response is, what a waste.
But that's what Rocky's good at that stuff, though. Like he could have pressed that guy. I know Rocky could have done it. You know, he could have done it.
Okay, so our good friend Rocky's been on the show a number of times. He'll probably be on soon. Like I'm asking him to record some things. Like, hey, we have an episode coming up about this. Record yourself, and he just likes to include everybody. So he'll be out on the street. He'll be like, "Oh, hey, so here's what I think about this," and then he'll see somebody in the background. He'll be like, "Hey, I'm recording something for backpacking a bush. Come on over here. You want to be the video?"
Yeah,
and like just some random person. Like
he'll get him to do it. Yeah,
yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
he's good at that.
All right, last tidbit is we've got the summer Bible study coming up. I was referencing this with the Bible verse at the beginning of the episode. Coming up, we're going to be doing it virtually, and it's been awesome over the last couple of years that I think this will be like our 3rd or 4th year doing it, 3rd or 4th summer. And so if you've done it already, awesome. We want you back. If you're interested in doing a summer Bible study, meet some great folks from around the country, sometimes around the world, please let me know. Reach out through email, through social media, whatever. And we'd love to have you. And I'll put, it's going to start in June. So I'll put more information out like on the emails here in a little bit. So, but you're invited. You, as in everybody out there, all of our friends, all the B&B family, including Derek, is invited.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. That's all I got. Guys, we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to check out Darwin. Check us out on all the social media handles at backpackingblisters.com. Backpackingblisterspodcast.com, I should say. And we will see you next time. Remember, guys, if you need a friend, just call Carl Bud.
I want